When the addFriend command is executed in the main view model, we will call the load method on the created friendEditViewModel with a null reference as friendID. Because, you see, here we are in the create and load friendEditViewModel method that we have created in the previous clip. And from the onAddFriendExecute method, we call that method with a null value as friendID. Now we need to ensure that the friendEditViewModel creates a new friend when the load method has been called with a null value. To ensure this, I have already created a new test method in the friendEditViewModel test class. So when I scroll down here, you see the new test method should create new friend when null is passed to load method. On the friendEditViewModel, I call the load method with a null reference. After that call, I assert that the friend property of the friendEditViewModel is not null. I also assert that the ID property of that friend is 0, and I assert that the properties first name, last name and birthday are all null. I also assert that the isDeveloper property is false, which is the default value for this Boolean property. At the end of the test, I also verify that the friend data provider's mock getFriendById method is never called with any friend ID, because the friendEditViewModel should create a new friend. It should not load an existing friend from the data provider by calling the getFriendById method. Okay, so let's run the tests. And here we go, we have a red test. Now let's just go to the friendEditViewModel's load method and let's implement the logic. Here in the load method, we need to check if the friend ID has a value. So let's just do this here. If the friend ID has a value, then we call the getFriendById method with that value on our friend data provider. If the friend ID does not have a value, we just create a new friend instance. Okay, cool. Let's run the tests again. And all our tests are green. So now let's try to run the application and let's add a new friend. So I click here on the button and you see the tab opens up with an empty friend. Let's just enter a name here and let's save that friend. Now we are in the navigation view model and we get an exception in the onFriendSaved method, that is the subscription method to the friendSaved event. From the items in the navigation, we try to grab that navigation item that has the ID of the saved friend. But the problem is that item does not exist yet in the navigation. So we get the invalid operation exception that says that the sequence contains no matching element. So now let's focus on the navigation view model to refresh the navigation when an added friend has been saved. In the previous clip, we have seen that we have a problem in the navigation view model in the onFriendSaved method. When a new friend has been saved, this onFriendSaved method is executed because it's the subscription to the friendSaved event. We receive the saved friend here and we try to grab the single navigation item view model from our friends property that has the same ID as the saved friend. But the problem is that navigation item view model does not exist because the friend has just been created. So we get an exception on that single call. Before we implement the solution, let's take a look at a unit test that I have already prepared. In the navigation view model test class, I have created a new unit test method that is called shouldAddNavigationItem when editFriend is saved. On the navigation view model, I call the load method. As we have set up the navigation data provider mock in the test class constructor, the getAllFriends method of that data provider returns two lookup items with the IDs 1 and 2. So in the friends property of the navigation view model, we will have two items after that load. Then I create here a new friend ID with the random number 97. The important thing to mention is that the items in the navigation have the IDs 1 and 2. So this ID does not exist. It's the ID for a new friend. The next thing I do here, I publish the friend saved event with a new friend. And as you can see, the ID of that friend is using the new friend ID. And I set first name to Anna and last name to Huber. After I have published this event, I assert that the navigation view model's friends property contains 3 navigation item view models. The 2 existing ones and a new one for this new friend. From the friends property, I try to grab the navigation item that has the ID of the new friend. I assert that this item exists, and I assert that the display member property of that item is Anna Huber, like we have specified it for the new friend. Now let's run the tests. And as you can see, the new test method is red. We have exactly the same invalid operation exception that we had in the previous clip when we tried to save a new friend. Sequence contains no matching element. So when I debug that test, you will see exactly the same as in the previous clip. And here we go. Here we are in the navigation view model in the onFriendSaved method. We call the single method on our friends property, but an item with the incoming friend ID, which is in this case 97, does not exist. Okay, so now as we have the unit test, let's implement the logic. Instead of calling the single method here, I call single or default. So I get a null value if no item is found for this condition. So if the navigation item is not null, then we just use our existing logic. If the navigation item is null, then we create a new navigation item view model. So let's do this. We create a new navigation item view model, and we need to pass in some parameters. We need to pass in the friend ID. We need to pass in the display member. We have this already here, but let's just cut it here and let's create here a variable called display member. Okay, then we can use it here and we can use it here. Okay, the last parameter for the navigation item view model is the event aggregator. Alright, let's add some line breaks here. And we are done with creating the navigation item view model. Now we need to add it to the friends property of our navigation view model. Okay, cool. So we are done. Now let's run our unit tests. And all the tests are green. So let's run the friend storage application. Let's add a new friend and let's type in a name. Okay, and now let's save that friend. And here we go, the new friend pops up in the navigation. Now let's change the first name and let's save that new friend again. And now you see that the existing navigation item has been updated. Okay, cool. So we are done with adding a new friend in the friend storage application. Let's wrap up now what we have done in this module. In this module, we have tested and implemented the logic to add a friend in the friend storage application. Now in this summary, I want to sum up 2 points about test-driven development that we have seen in this module. Test-driven development allowed us to implement the main view model up front. We have added the add_friend command property to the main view model, and we were able to test the logic of this command in the main view model class. After we have finished the main view model, we have implemented the load method in the friend edit view model to create a new friend if a null value is passed in instead of a friend ID. So test-driven development really allowed us to implement the logic in the different view models independently. After we were done with the main view model and the friend edit view model, we started the application, and when we tried to save a new friend, we got an exception. In the navigation view model, we tried to grab the navigation item that has the ID of the saved friend. But that navigation item did not exist yet. Instead of just implementing the logic to support this, we have written a unit test. And with that unit test, we were able to reproduce the exception that we got in the navigation view model while running the application. And with that unit test, it was quite simple to implement the logic in the navigation view model. Okay, so we are done with adding a new friend in the friend storage application. We can now add and save friends. Now let's continue and let's see how we can delete an existing friend. Welcome to the module Deleting an Existing Friend. My name is Thomas Claudius Huber, and in this module we will extend the friend storage application so that the user can delete existing friends. Before we start, let's take a quick look at the module outline. The first thing that we do in this module, we will enable the delete button for existing friends. When the user creates a new friend, the delete button should be disabled as long that new friend hasn't been saved. After we have done this, we will focus on the implementation of the delete logic. The delete logic includes deleting the friend by using the data provider. It includes refreshing the navigation after delete, and it also includes closing the tab after the friend has been deleted. Okay, so as usual, we have some work to do and we need to write a lot of unit tests. Now let's start with enabling the delete button only for existing friends in the friend edit view.